All right, it's Super Centex After Dark from uh places unknown,
Various locations.
various locations,
I was
including
just
the
saying,
Chad's trying to be
I'm
in
at
the
the
dark this
I'm at
week.
the glorious Riesel Food Mart where I've broadcast from before.
yes,
So
you have. I think
uh,
that was Steve Boggs's favorite episode.
the lighting is good here too. It's like
Well,
bright,
let's just
it
get
kind
to
of
you
distracting.
first.
All right.
First of all, I'll just say, just looking at the scoreboard, uh, Central Texas had about as good a week as Netflix. Ouch.
Rod Adelite's comment was bloodbath. These Crawfords
Bloodbath.
won.
Bloodbath. Hashtag bloodbath. Uh,
As I was driving back from Bryan, I was thinking that we kind of had a red wedding of a first of a by district round.
yeah.
Red Wedding being the Game of Thrones reference where all the good characters got.
Axed. Yeah.
Yep.
Including the Robinson Rockets, who you saw. Uh, looked like they, had some moments in that game, right?
It was competitive, and then they kind of made you think, is this going to be like the old Plano John Tyler thing? Because they did recover an onside kick, and they had that the possibility of bringing it back from way behind, but that was short lived. I don't know if you young kids know what I'm talking about, but the John Tyler Plano game when Plano recovered all those
Oh my
onside kicks
gosh, do your
and,
homework. Y'all got to go back and look at that.
and then they
That's the good gosh almighty Joe Friday game. That's what that
uh,
is. That's
yep,
the greatest, probably the greatest call in sports
yeah,
history.
yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Yes, go back
Uh,
and YouTube John Tyler and Plano West, wasn't
mhm.
it?
No, it wasn't Plano West. Plano West. It might have been Plano East, but Plano
Plano
West
East.
didn't exist
Plano
then.
East. Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, go on, Chad.
But yeah, a lot of times when I'm watching my favorite team play and they're in a tense game and the other team has to punt, I'm just like, one time will the other team snap the ball over the punter's head? It's like that big break, right? And poor Robinson Rockets, they did that twice tonight, and it really hurts when you do that because when you snap the ball over the punter's head, the other team is pretty much getting it on the doorstep of a touchdown, right?
Yeah, Midway
So,
had one tonight like that. So
mhm.
and it led to a Waxahachie touchdown. Uh,
But
well,
so those two things happen. Sealy, I think Sealy might be one of the better third place teams, you know, third place playoff teams in the state. They look pretty dang good. They had some lapses. Robinson made some big plays in the passing game. But Sealy came out first offensive play, double pass, kid named Noah Washington, who played wide receiver the rest of the night, threw a 62-yard touchdown pass on a double pass on the first offensive play. And that didn't exactly set the tone because Robinson came back and scored, but Sealy gave notice that they were there to play. So,
mm. uh, well, let
by
me
the way,
get
the attendant here at the Riesel Food Mart is out smoking a cigarette. You want me to see if they want to come on?
see what their thoughts on the game are.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Did
well,
Riesel win? What did Riesel do tonight?
let's get to Riesel Thorndale.
Okay.
They went down in a close game.
Mm,
Michael Haig was there.
Yeah, I was here, and it ended up, being a really close game. I actually didn't realize this, Bryce. I didn't check either team's schedule before this, but these two teams actually played in week
Hmm.
3 of
Okay.
non-district play in Thorndale, which was a pretty easy victory. I mean, it was like 27-6 for Thorndale. But Riesel definitely had this one circled on the calendar. Obviously, it's a playoff game. I mean, you're gonna get up to play
Right.
for anyone, but this was a chance for them to kind of get back at them a little bit. And um, man, Thorndale is young. I was kind of looking through the roster. They've got a lot of young guys, but they're pretty darn good. And I also didn't realize they were 0-10 last year. Thorndale. I mean, this is quite a turnaround. Now
Hmm.
they're 9-3, and back in the area round. I went and looked, and they've made it this far, quite often over the last 10 years or so. I think prior to last year, The last time they missed the playoffs was like 2014. So this was a good program for Riesel to play, and unfortunately, it didn't go the Indians' way. They had a really costly fumble. I think with like five minutes or so in the fourth. I mean, it was kind of one of those back and forth games. The whole game, like
Hang on, Michael. I gotta
score.
interrupt you.
Okay.
Chad, are you drinking from a 2 liter there?
It looks big, doesn't it? It's just because I have my phone propped up on the steering wheel, and so when it gets like really
Yeah,
close, so.
yeah.
Sorry.
Fair
Go
enough.
ahead,
No,
Michael.
no, it's okay. I mean, but it was this poor freshman. I'm not going to say his name, but he took a handoff. He was playing really well the whole night. I thought Riesel as a whole played really well, and it's not like he just put the ball on the ground. It was a real. I mean, he had like three guys trying to punch it out, and they just stripped it. Thorndale did, and uh, by that point, Thorndale was already up six late in the fourth, and so the Bulldogs just took it from there. They had plus field position. I think they were set up on the 38 on the short side, and their running back Crabtree. I know last week we were talking about guys who you want for your fantasy football team. Well, he had five rushing touchdowns tonight on like 30 carries or something. So um, I think he had like close to 100 yards. He wasn't like averaging 10 yards a carry or anything, but just stuffed the stat sheet with touchdowns, and he scored his fifth rushing touchdown of the game right there. And give Riesel credit. They got the ball back with I think like 3 minutes left or something, and they scored quick. They really did, and kind of put the pressure back on Thorndale. But all Thorndale had to do really was move the chains once, which it did, and that ultimately ended the game. But yeah, a tough one for Riesel. Coach Little was pretty bummed. He was choking up a little bit. These seniors have meant a lot to him. I'm as for lots of our Central Texas coaches, I'm sure that's the case. Um, but yeah, kind of a tough one that will I'm sure will carry with them over the offseason. But I'm curious to see how they can kind of bounce back next year.
Yeah. So there's a couple uh, Central Texas losers that we just rolled through, Robinson and Riesel. I'll get to mine, and then we'll get to some winners. How about that? We'll just do it that way.
Well,
The
let's go winter and then yours.
No, let's go mine.
Okay,
I'm just gonna get it out of the way because
just
there's
get
not
all
a
the
whole
bummers out of the way.
there's not a whole lot to say. Um, hi- I I don't need to break this down a whole lot. I'm just gonna give you kind of the way the game started for Midway, and you'll get a sense of the game after that. So, opening kickoff, Midway's receiving. Jesse Satterfield, who's a really good kick returner, it goes through his hands and it bounces into the end zone. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can actually still down it at that point. Even if you've touched it in the field of play, if it's in the end zone, I think the rule says that you can still down the ball and get the touchback. Uh,
That's one of those things, though. It's like
oh, it
when it happens and you're trying to figure out that
Yes,
rule,
I know.
and
And the kid
yeah, yeah.
panicked, and so he tried to run it out, and he gets dumped at the 6 yard line. Well, then here's how it went for Midway. First carry, Lathan Wissington, 2 yard loss. Then so now they're at the 4 yard line. Then back to back false start penalties. So they're at the whatever 1 inch line.
The
Uh,
one, yeah.
um, at the one, and so then their next play was a carry to Wissington, and he barely got out of the end zone. And it looked like for a second they were going to get a safety, but they gave him the inch line basically. Anyway, of course, Midway had to punt. Waxahachie took over with great field position at like the 30 yard line because the punt wasn't very good. Well, then Midway actually forces a fourth down. It's 4th and 5, and Waxahachie scores a 25-yard touchdown on a little pass over the middle. Incidentally, Chad, this will be interesting. Uh, Waxahachie's quarterback, Waxahachie's very good, very quick,
Mhm.
talented, explosive. Their quarterback, Jerry Meyer the third, is a sophomore. He threw 3 touchdowns tonight. I get a text from Jim Barnes out in Las Vegas,
Okay.
and he tells me that that Jerry Meyer was in Nevada last year as a freshman and set the Nevada state record with 58 touchdown passes, uh, and
Dang.
led his team to the state championship.
Whoa.
So
Whoa.
yeah, and that's what, the third place team in that district or whatever, behind Duncanville and DeSoto. Yeah,
I
that's
wonder
a
how many people in the history of the United States have moved from Las Vegas to Waxahachie.
I don't know, but I don't know that he was in Las Vegas. He was in Nevada. Uh,
Oh, okay, okay, all right, all
but
right.
at any rate, um, just a quick shout out to Midway, because even though obviously these last couple weeks it really didn't go their way, with a kind of a bad loss at home to Copper's Cove, and then obviously tonight, against a really good Waxahachie team. Um, they were they were gritty, they were resilient, they dealt with so many injuries, I mean, just one after another of really good players that went down for them. And it was a good first year for Joe Gillespie at Midway. 7-4. And I think they've got something to build on, and he thinks so too. Remember, they didn't get a whole off season with Joe Gillespie.
That's true.
They didn't do
Yeah.
spring football. So he's really looking forward to this off season. All right, so let's move on, and now we'll get to some Central Texas winners. And I'm gonna go to Daniel, who saw his very first six-man game tonight, with two Central Texas teams, Iredell and Bynum. So he was guaranteed to see one win, and not surprisingly, it was the Dragons.
The Dragons, another Game of Thrones reference.
Daniel, what was your impressions of six-man football?
Dude, as I was texting you, it's basically the action of high school football. I didn't know what to expect. And in the first play of the game, 46-yard touchdown, 12 seconds into the game
Yeah.
by Iredell. And anytime Iredell touched the ball, they were in the end zone tonight. And I think their kicker only missed one of his PATs. It just got blocked. And um, so then they were just racking up 8 points every drive. And I mean, Bynum was trying to come back, but was turning the ball over on downs. They fumbled one time, which led to a scoop and score for Iredell. Then they threw an interception, which almost was taken back, but ended up getting pushed out of bounds. And then the fans for Iredell were more happy the about the game ending at half, being up 45, because as they said, they were going to take a team trip to McDonald's after the game.
Nice.
And
Before
so
McDonald's closes, yeah.
when Bynum scored with just under a minute left to put that lead under 45, they were getting pretty
Oh,
upset
man.
and they were getting hangry. But Iredell just took it downfield, and with 2 seconds left in the half, got a touchdown. And
Wait, where
so
was the game played?
it was
It's
at
at
Methodist
Methodist
Children's
Children's Home.
Home,
So it was in
which,
Waco. So any of the Waco area McDonald's could have benefited from that. We don't know which one.
well, the game ended up ending, I think, at like 8:30. So they
They had
Yeah,
definitely
they
lots
made
had
of
their
they
choice.
options.
made it on time.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Now,
And
see,
so
six man is so much like basketball on grass that I just had this brilliant idea. They should put a basketball hoop on the goalpost, right? And if you can dunk it, that's the 2-point conversion.
dude, I
Chad,
think if you're on
don't
fourth
don't
down,
disparage six-man football with your silly ideas.
if it's fourth down and you punt it and you make it into that basketball goal, that's a touchdown in
That,
the ball
that
back.
very good idea too.
Well,
Yeah.
Wait, I
so
gotta. My buddy was just like, that sounds like one of the Mesoamerican ball games where you have to hit it with your
Mhm.
hip and it goes
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But that wasn't it the decapitated head of one of the players that they would
No,
anyway.
no, it was like it's like a regular ball,
Okay, okay. They didn't use the
like a stone
decapitated
ball.
head.
Sometimes it
Yeah,
was a stone ball.
yeah.
No,
Well, so
don't mess stuff
Iredale's
up.
moving on, and good for the Dragons. I think they have some staying power in 1A Division Two. It's probably our best hope is in six man of getting somebody to Jerry World, honestly.
No, the
Um,
La Vega Pirates, man. I'm on that bandwagon.
well, yeah, all right, let's talk about the La Vega Pirates. So DJ was down at the Field in Pflugerville. Uh, and yeah, La Vega just romped, really.
Yeah, it was after 2 hours of traffic, because I don't know, me and Rod left at like 4:30, right? Because I'm rushing. I'm thinking I'm gonna be late because the for some reason Max Prep said it started at 7, but then I get there and everything's chill. Like the game starts at 7:30. And yeah, I mean, first play of the game, Bryson Rowland, 67-yard touchdown run down the sideline. 3 and out, 2 plays, Jabari Thornton, touchdown catch. And then like 3 plays after that, Quay Willis, whose dad is the girls basketball coach at La Vega. So they're pretty used to winning championships in that household. Pick six for about 45 yards. And it was just
And here's the thing, and that Rod told me that from this game, and I've noticed this when I cover La Vega too, in shot games from the sideline. La Vega has decided that the Trib photographer is like the end zone cam at NFL games. So they were coming over to him and like kind of
there was some pretty good shots, right?
waiting for the camera. Yeah, but here's the thing, those guys, they got to realize the last thing we want to do is get on Don Hyde's bad side because of that. So maybe it's like we like it, but let's be subtle,
Hey,
yeah.
The La Vega guys are a big chunk of our viewing audience.
I know. I love that. So I don't know if they want to keep doing it, keep doing it. Just don't get us in trouble.
Right.
So
do what you want to do.
La Vega only had 20 plays in the first half, and had 388 yards of offense. And shut out.
That's pretty efficient. That is very
pretty
efficient.
I talked to Jabari Thornton after the game, and I was like, how much do y'all value being efficient? And he's like, we want to be perfect. Coach Hyde wants us to be perfect. And this is probably the longest interview I've ever had with Don Hyde. Like he seemed pretty happy. They were,
58-2 will do that.
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
Second half.
He wasn't mad about the two.
Was there. That safety came off of the one drive that Lagrange was about to score. They fumble it at the 4-yard line, and La Vega recovers. And then there's a holding flag on La Vega, and so that kind of resulted in the safety. But it was, like I said, it was a JV. After that safety, the clock did not stop. They just did not stop the clock. It was just they were out there.
Hold on.
You're about to correct her pronunciation.
You need to go call up iTunes and look up ZZ Top and listen to LaGrange and get that one right.
LaGrange, whatever. I lived in Louisiana for 7 years, Chad. We call it LaGrange over there. But it was a completely, the first half, the Leopards did not touch the 50. They did not get past it. And I'm going to call it right now. Giovanni Esqueda is going to be the first team kicker.
We'll see.
Super Centex, because I'm just saying he's pretty efficient. He did not miss an extra point. He was pretty good on punts. On punts, on kickoffs. He punted once in this entire game. No, man, I was actually kind of upset you sent me to this game because I was like, La Vega's going to roll this team. But, it worked out. I got here. I got done pretty quickly. Had really good interviews. I ate some tacos.
You ate tacos?
I'm watching Down Nabby. Hanging out with my best buds. So we're good.
Hey, on the kicker note, I'm voting for Leonardo Leon, the Ninja Turtle in Gatesville.
Hey, Chad, what else is LaGrange famous for?
I said they got a lot of nice girls down there.
Yeah, the Chicken Ranch.
It's a line. It's a line from the ZZ Top song. That's what the whole ZZ Top song is about.
Right. That's true. Yes, that's correct.
We've really gone after dark. We should probably get back on football.
Yes, let's get to Levi before we get into too much trouble. Yes, y'all really need to do some history. I can't believe you don't know John Tyler and Plano East, Plano West, whatever the crap it was.
I think it was Plano East.
Or the Chicken Ranch or LaGrange.
I know the song.
Good job. All right, Levi, you saw a very powerful performance by the Marlin Bulldogs.
I did. This game was over 2 plays into it. First play of the game, it was a 52-yard touchdown from Suitors to Womack. Second play of the game was a 69-yard touchdown from Suitors to Womack. Suitors finished with 245 passing yards, 4 touchdowns on 9 of 13 passing. Wow. Also had 75 rushing yards and a touchdown. Womack had 7 receptions for 187 and 3 touchdowns. This game was 27-0 at pretty much the end of the first quarter. I was really hoping they were going to run the clock, but Holland had a little too much pride, unfortunately, so it kind of got strung out quite a bit. But Marlin's really, really good. I think Roderick
was the Marlin radio guy there.
It was in Waco ISD, so I'm not sure.
You would know if he was.
I think he
you
would
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would know.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah, but Waco ISD, they are kind of separated.
There was like Marlin people to my left, so maybe that was him.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably the best quarterback I've seen at that level. He's really, really good. I think Marlin is very, very talented. They have a lot of good skill position players. They're really strong and big up front. And then in their last 6 games, they've outscored opponents 247-29. Like, I don't care who you're playing against. Like, that's very impressive. And I think they have the makeup to go far. They're playing Schulenburg next week. They're 8-3 at a neutral side. I think Coach Rogers said it's probably going to be in San Marcos, but he wasn't for sure on that one. But yeah, I think Marlin's very talented, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them go pretty far.
It really looks like Marlin has found themselves. They had a little while getting there, but it seems like they have now.
Yeah, their offense is just super talented. It's kind of like La Vega's. It's pretty similar to La Vega's, just at a smaller scale with fewer players, but they have the similar makeup of a quarterback and who can do run and pass, and then very, very good running backs, very good receivers, and their defense.
Ty, ring my bell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Speaking of teams that have found themselves, I've rechristened the Crawford Pirates the Crawford Vampirates.
I like it.
Because we thought they were dead, and they're not dead. They're undead.
Listen to this. Did y'all ever go back and maybe read Brian Coates' story last week? Crawford got in on a coin flip.
No, they got the seed on a coin flip.
Okay, they got the seed on a coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
The point differential thing came down to a tie.
Right. But Greg Jacobs told me when I was out there for signing day that the coin flip wasn't actually necessary. He just didn't have the district minutes on him to show that they wasn't necessary, but then they won it anyway. So a little inside scoop here on After Dark too, about the Vampires.
At any rate, yes, we got to give a shout out to Crawford, who sneaks into the playoffs and then obviously gets into the second round. I think, to me, that's where like tradition and just having been there and all of that really starts paying off. So Crawford finding itself at the right time. Fairfield.
Did Fairfield win? No, Fairfield lost.
No, they won.
Fairfield won?
Yeah. Let's see. What was that score?
They beat Orangefield.
49-42, Fairfield.
Wow, that's a big upset.
And then Tig got a good win
last night. Yeah.
And let's see who else.
Gatesville over Madisonville, right?
Gatesville
won. Gatesville won.
Yeah.
Gatesville won, so that's good for the Hornets.
See, here's what I think on Gatesville. They played Carthage a couple of years in a row in the playoffs, and that I think that was like that's a first round playoff opponent you don't want. So anybody else they get now, they're like, we can handle that,
Yeah, them beating Conley last week was so huge because they got to avoid Belleville and play Madisonville.
Yeah, that's a good
obviously destroyed Connolly.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, so we'll have more games to cover next week, but we did definitely
Talk about
teams.
University yesterday, or
Yeah, University, obviously a tough one for them.
I mean, there's not much to say. I feel like it was the opposite of what I saw tonight, where Fort Bend Marshall was just the better team. And although the one criticism I have, and something that I really hope that, Karen Johnson and his staff kind of maybe put some emphasis in over the offseason, is like special teams. Because part of what made it so easy for Marshall to get up on them so quick was field position. Like they had short field to work with. And I mean, University just punting really short.
I would say in high school football, a good punter is a really rare commodity.
Yeah.
Most of them, it's just like they look around and go, "Hey, can you do it? Can you do it?" I mean, they try out different kids.
Kickers, because they're bringing kids over from the soccer team.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they didn't really seem upset with the loss. Like obviously it was kind of sad to see their season end. Coach Johnson was just like like they were the better team. Like we want to get there. We were sad to see the seniors go, but they really weren't going to worry about trying to come back after the first half. And I mean, and KJ's really chill. Like you can never really tell if he's upset. Like he's yeah, but I mean, they still have a lot of weapons coming back next year. Obviously, London Smith is going to be a senior. Joaquin Martinez is going to be a senior. They got some other guys that are coming up. Yeah.
And let's just take a minute to say a competitive in the playoffs University team is so far ahead of where they were for a while.
That's that's the big picture is where this team has come from. Remember, this was a team that had a long losing streak just a few years ago. And now it's 3 DJ playoff appearances in a row. They're progressing. And that's something that Coach Johnson talked to me about earlier this season was just trying to reset the expectations of people because like when they beat China Spring, the fans were all doing backflips and he was like, we need to get past where that's like our Super Bowl, I mean, so they're taking steps and I think, next year will be really interesting. So,
hey, before we go, what can I bring y'all from the Riesel Food Mart?
Do they got tacos out there? DJ's got me hungry.
They might have some tacos.
Dude, I had the best barbacoa tacos that I've had in a while.
Oh.
They were thick.
All right, I'm hungry. Y'all go away. See you later. Thank you.